When the sea is tense, what bars now carry the name of the king? To cabin silence, trouble us not.
Would you remember whom thou hast aboard?
None that I care more than myself. Surely my heart, out of the way, I say.
I have great comfort from this fellow. Methinks yet no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Stand thou good fate to his hating, and make the rope of his destiny our cable, for our own doubtful advantage. If be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast. Here, lower, lower. Try to settle within the main course. A pocket's pound is howling. They're louder than a weather or office.
A pox on your throat, you bowling, blasphemous, and charitable dog!
We're cute then.
Hang, cur, hang! You horse and insolent noise maker! We're left to bring the way down that thou art!
I'll war to his death, drowning.
Lay her hold, a hold. Try to settle within courses. Lay her off.
All lost! To prayers! To prayers! All lost!
What must our mouths be cold?
The king and prince of prayers. Let us assist them to our case as theirs.
I am out of patience!
Really treated alive by drunkards, this white-topped rascal, like thou's like drowning the washing of 10 tides.
You be hanged yet, though your dumb water swear against it. Engage him whiskey glutton.
Let's all sing with the king!
I want to give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre bare ground. Long keep round for anything. The rules of done must be done. I'm fain tired try death.
If by your arts, my dearest mother, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, will pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did not against my very heart, poor souls they perished. Had I been any god in power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or air, should the good ship so have swallowed, and the frauding souls within her.
Be collected. There's no harm done.
Hello, the day.
No harm. I have done nothing but inherit thee. Of thee, my dear one. Thee, my own child. Wert ignorant of what thou art, not knowing whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell, and thy no greater mother.
More to know to never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I shouldn't forward thee farther. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garment from me.
You have often begun to tell me what I am but strong.
The hour's now come. Obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not out 3 years old.
Certainly, madam, I can.
By what? To any other house or person?
It's far off and round like a dream. Had I not 4 or 5 women once attended me?
Thou hast, and more, Miranda. 12 years since, Miranda. 12 years since. Thy father was Duke of Milan, and a prince of power.
Sir, not you, my father.
Thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my child. And thy father was Duke of Milan.
Oh, the heavens! What foul
thou attends not.
Oh, good madam, I do.
I pray thee, mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to the closeness and bettering of my mind, which in my false brother awakened evil nature, and my trust, like a good parent, did beget him a falsehood in its contrary, as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, a confidence sand-bound. He thus being lorded, not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might else exact, like one who, having into truth by telling it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie, he did believe he was the duke out of the submission. Dost thou hear?
Your tale, madam, would cure deafness.
He thinks me now incapable. Confederates, so drives he persuade the king of Naples to give him annual tribute, do him homage. Mark his condition in the event, then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother, in wombs have borne bad sons.
This king of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the promises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan and all the honors on my brother. Whereon, one midnight, a treacherous army led, fated to the purpose did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness, the ministers for the purpose hurried thence me and by crying self.
Alack for pity! I not remembering how I cried out then will cry o'er again. It is a hint that brings mine eyes to it.
Hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a boat. Not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast, the very rats instinctively acquit it. There, they hoist us to cry to the sea that roars to us, to sigh to the winds, whose pity sigh back again, did us with loving long.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a cherubim thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven against what should ensue.
And how came we ashore?
Thy providence divine. Some food we had and some fresh water, that a noble Neapolitan, Gonzalo, out of his charity would give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have said much. So, of his gentleness, knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my duty.
Would I might but ever see that man?
Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princes can, that have more time for vainer hours and tutors not so careful.
And heaven send you for it. But now I pray you, madam, for still 'tis beating in my mind, your reason for raising the sea storm?
Know thus far for it. By accident, most strange, bountiful fortune, now my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore. And by my presence I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, which now I court not but omit, my fortunes will ever after drew. Here see some more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. It's a good dullness and give way. I know thou canst not choose. Approach, my Ariel! Come!
All hail, great master! Great sir, hail! I come
affect his reason.
Not a soul but felt the fever of the mad, played some tricks of desperation. All the mariners plunged into the flowing brine and quit the vessel, then all afire with me. The king's son, Ferdinand, with hair upstaring, good like reeds, not hair, was the first man in that night. Cried, hell is empty and all the devils are here.
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
But are they areas safe?
Not a hair perished. On their sustaining garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before. And, as thou mayst see, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son have I landed by himself, who loves cooling of the air with sighs in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting, his arms in the sad knot. Sink in harbor the king's ship, in the deep nook where once thou called to me up at midnight fetch dew from the still vexed rivets. There she was hid. There were mariners all under hatches stowed, who, with a charm joined to their supper liquor, I left asleep. As for those with the fleet, which I dispersed, they've all met again and are upon the Mediterranean floats, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing they saw their king shipwrecked and his great person perish.
Ariel, thy charm exactly is performed. But there's more work. What is the time of day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 classes. The time betwixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more to it? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now? Moody. When is thou canst man?
My liberty.
Before the time be out? No more.
I pray thee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made no mistakings, served without or grudge or rumblings. Thou did promise to bait me a full year.
Dost thou forget what a torment I did free thee?
No,
Thou dost, and thinks it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep.
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, blatant thing! Hast thou forgot foul bitch cigarettes? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
Where was she born? Speak, tell me.
Sir, our chair.
Oh, was she so? I was once in a month account without spin, which thou forgetst. This damned witch, cigarettes, for mischiefs manifold, and sorcery terrible to enter human hearing, from our chair, thou knowest, was banished. Is this not true?
Hi, sir.
This blue-eyed hag is in a rotten child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportst thyself, was then her servant. And for thou, which spirit too delicate to act her earthly and abhorred demands, she did confine thee into a closed eye, within which rift imprisoned did thou painfully remain a dozen years. Within which space she died and left me there. Thou best knows what a torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves howl, and to penetrate the breast of ever angry bears. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak, and peg thee his naughty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, master. I'll be correspondent to command, and do my spreading gently.
Do so. And after 2 days I will discharge thee.
Why, that's my noble master. What shall I do? Say, what? What shall I do?
Be subject to no sight of thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go hence with diligence.
My lord, it shall be done.
Awake, the your heart awake. Thou hast slept well. Awake.
The strangeness of your story for heaviness in me.
Shake it off, come on. We'll visit my slave Caliban, who never yields us kind answer.
'Tis a villain, madam, I do not love to look on.
He does make our fire, fetch our wood, and serve his opposite that profit us. What ho! Slave Caliban, thou art thou speak.
There's wood enough of it!
Come forth, I say. There's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise. When? Diligent error. Fine apparition, hearken in mine ear.
My lord, it shall be done.
Thy poisonous slave, got by the devil himself. Upon thy wicked dale come forth.
As wicked deer as I am my mother crushed, with raven's feather from unwholesome fen drop on you both. A southwest blow on you and blister you all over.
For this, be sure. Tonight thou shalt have cramps. Sigh stitches shall pen thy breath up. Urchins shall pour at vast of nights that they may work all exercise for thee.
Oh, I really know.
Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees that made 'em.
This island's mine, my cigarettes, my mother, which thou takest from me. When thou camest first, thou strokest me, made much of me, would give me water with berries in, and teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less I burn by day and night. And then I love thee, and show thee all the qualities of this isle, the fresh springs, dry peats, barren plains, and fertile. Curse be not I myself! All the charms of cigarettes, tops, needles, bats, light on you! For I am all the subject you have, which first was my own king. And here you started me in this hot rock, whilst you do keep from me the rest of this island.
Thou most lying slave, whose strength may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with humane care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Oh! Oh! Would have been down. Thou didst prevent me. I have people else this island with caravans.
Abhorred slave! I pity thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other. When thou didst not savage know thine own meaning, but wouldst gabble like a thing most foolish, I am down with thy purposes with words that make them known!
You told me language, and my prophet art is I know how to curse. The rat will breed you for letting me know language.
Hence thee, hence! Fetch us in fuel, and be quick. Shrug thou malice, if thou neglects or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee cold cramps. No, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar so that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, I'm free. I must obey. Prosper art is of such power. It will control my damn spell senseless. I made a vast of him.
So slave hence.
again the king, my father's wrack. This music crept by me upon the waters with its sweet air. Thence I have followed it, or it hath drawn me, rather. But 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
Of him that doth flee, but the subversive change into something rich and strange. See him sourly ring his knell, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Hark, hark, now I hear them.
Did he does remember my drowned father?
The rigid curves of thine eyes advance, and say what thou seest yon.
What is it? Spirits? Lord, how it looks about. Believe me, madam, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No, wench. It eats and sleeps and has such senses as we have such. Yet lost its fellows and strays about to find them.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble.
Spirit, fine spirit, I'll set thee free within 2 days. Then.
Oh, sure, the goddess on whom these hairs attend. Vouchsafe my prayer may know if you remain silent, and that you some good instruction will give me how I may bear with you. My time request, which I do last pronounce is, oh, you wonder if you be maid or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language, heavens! I am the best of them that speak this speech, were I but where 'tis spoken.
How the best? What wert thou if the king of Naples early?
A single thing is I now that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does, I weep. Myself am Naples, who with mine own eyes, never since it ebbed, beheld the king, my father, racked.
Lack for mercy.
Yes, faith, and all his lords, the Duke of Milan and his brave son being twain.
At first sight we have changed eyes. A word, good sir. I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Why speaks my mother so ungently? This is the third man that e'er I saw, and the first that e'er I signed for. Pity moved my mother to be inclined to my way.
Oh, if a virgin, and your affection not gone forth, I'll make you the queen of Naples.
They are both in either's powers. But this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. Stop, sir, one word more. I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy, to win it from me, the lord of it.
No, as I'm a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple.
Follow. Speak not you for him who's a traitor. Come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh pork mussels, withered roots, and husk were in the acorn cradle. Follow.
No, I will resist such entertainment until my enemy has more power.
Oh, dear mother, make not too rash a triumph, and for he is gentle and not fearful.
What I say? My foot, my tunic? Put up thy sword, traitor. Who makes a show but dares not strike? Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy lord, for here I can disarm thee with a stick and make thy weapons right.
Beseech you, mother.
Hence, hang not on my garments.
Madam, have pity on me, surety.
Silence! One word more shall make me chide thee and not hate thee. What? An advocate for an impostor? Hush. Thou thinkst there is no more such shapes as he, having seen but him in Caliban. Foolish wench, to the most of men, this is a Caliban. And they, to him, are angels.
My affections are then most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey.
cause, the weakness which I feel, the wrath of all my friends, nor this man's threats to whom I am subdued, are but light to me. Might I but through my prison once a day behold this maid, all corners else of the earth let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
It works! Come on, fine, Ariel! Follow me. Hark what else thou shalt do me.
Be of comfort. My mother's of a better nature, sir, than she appears by speech. This is unwonted which now came from her.
Thou shalt be as free as mountain winds. But then, exactly to all points of my command. So. Come! Follow! Speak not you for him.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. Our hint of woe is common. Every day, some sailor's wife. The master is the merchant, and the merchant himself had just a deal of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, you and millions can speak like us. Then, wisely, good sir, where sorrows no comfort?
Prithee,
When every youth is entertained its offer, comes to the entertainer.
I prithee, spare!
I have done but yet.
He will be talking.
Which of your Adrian but could wager first against the crow,
The old cock.
the cockerel,
The wager.
a laughter?
A match.
Though this island seemed to be desert,
So, your pay.
uninhabitable, and almost inaccessible,
Yet,
yet it must needs be of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Temperance was a delicate wench.
I, and as subtle as he most largely delivered.
Why, here is everything advantageous to life.
True, save the means to live.
Of that there is none or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks. How green.
He misses not much.
No, he does not mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity that it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit,
As many vouched rarities are.
that are garments, being as they were drenched in the sea. Whole, notwithstanding their freshness and gloss, being rather new dyed than stained in salt water.
If but one of his pockets could speak, would not say he lies.
I, who very falsely pocket up his reports.
Methinks our garments are now as fresh as we wore them first in Africa. And the marriage of the king's fair daughter Clarabelle to the king of Tunis.
'Twas the sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen.
I think he will carry this island home in his pockets and give it his son for an apple.
And sowing the kernels of in the sea, bring forth more islands.
Ah, Sarah, we were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we were at Tunis, at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen.
The rarest day you came there.
Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it. I mean in a sort.
That sword was well fished for.
When I wore it, your daughter's inheritance.
You cram these words into my ears against the stomach of my sense. When I never married my daughter there, for coming thence, my son is lost. And my rate, she too, who is so far from it removed, I ne'er again shall see her.
It's so the metal sea.
Or dogs, or mallows.
And we're the king on it. What would I do?
Escaping drunk for want of wine.
In the Commonwealth I by contraries, execute all things. For no kind of traffic would I admit. No name magistrate, no occupation, all men idle, all. And women too, but innocent and pure, no sovereignty.
Yet he would be king on it. No marrying on his subjects.
None, man, all idle, coordinates.
Oh, I was such perfection governed, sir, to excel the golden age.
Save his majesty.
Long live Gonzalo!
Prithee no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do well believe your highness, and did it to administer occasion to these gentlemen, that are of such sensible, nimble lungs that they always use to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you we laughed at.
Oh, this kind of merry fooling and nothing to you. So you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
Oh, what a blow is there given!
And it has not fallen flat on.
You're a gentleman, break metal.
Nay, good my lord, be not angry.
No, I want you. Can you let me sleep? For I am very heavy.
Go sleep. Hear us.
What? Also soon asleep? Wish mine eyes would let themselves shut up my thoughts. I find they're inclined to do so.
Please you, sir, do not admit the heavy offer of it. It seldom admitted sorrow, and when it doth, it is a comforter.
Wait till, my lord. Work on your pressing while I take a rest. Watch your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous.
What a strange drowsiness possesses them.
'Tis the quality of the climate.
Why then doth not our island sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together all as by consent, and dropped as by a thunderstroke. What am I, worthy Sebastian? What am I? No more. Hear me thinks I see in thy face what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks thee. My strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What? Art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language. Thou dost snore distinctly. There is meaning in thy snores.
I am more serious than my custom.
Prithee, say on. The setting of thy iron cheek proclaims a matter from thee.
Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who is the next heir of Naples?
Clarabelle?
She that is queen of Tempest. She from Naples can have no note unless the sun will post.
What stuff is this? How say you? 'Tis true my brother's daughter is queen of Tunis. So is she heir of Naples.
Say this were death that now hath seized them. Why? They were no worse than now they are. There be that can rule Naples, as well as he that sleeps. Lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. Oh, that should more than mind that I do. What is sleep? What is for advancement? Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how did you content, tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True. And look how well my garments sit upon me, much featured than before. My brother's servants were then my fellow, now they are my men.
But for your conscience?
I, sir? Where lies that? Twere a kite to put me to my slippers, but I feel not this deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that said to me and Milan, can we be they? and melt here if they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies apart. If he were that which now he's like, that's dead, whom I with this obedient steel, 3 instruments, can lay to bed forever, whilst you doing thus, with a perpetual wing for I may lay this ancient morsel, disturb prudence, who should not abrade our course. For all the rest, they'll take suggestions of the Calap's milk. They'll tell the clock to any business that we say befits the hour.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou goest Milan, I will come by Naples. Draw thy blade, one stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together, and as I rear my hand, you like to fall on Gonzalo.
My master through his arms perceives the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth, or else his project dies. To keep them living. While you here to snoring lie, open thy conspiracy his time doth take. If of life you keep a care, shake off slumber and beware. Awake! Awake!
Then let us both be silent.
Oh, good angels, preserve the king.
Why? Oh no! Oh, awake! Why are you drunk? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
What is the matter?
Well, we stood here, securing your repose. Even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing like bulls, or rather, lions. Did it not wake you? It struck mine ears most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, 'twas a din to frighten a monster's ears, to make an earthquake. Sure, it was the roar of whole herds of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon my honor, sir, I heard a humming, and that a strange one too. Oh, I shake you, sir, and cry. As mine eyes open, I saw their weapons drawn. There was a noise, that's verily. 'Tis best that we stand on our guard, but that we quit this place entirely. Let us draw our weapons.
Lead off this ground, and let's make further search for my foresight.
Heavens, keep him from these beasts. Be sure on the side.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I have done. So, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
Older you factions that the sun sucks up, from bought, bent, flat, a prosperous foe and made him by each note a disease. His spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse. But they will pinch, nor leave me like a firebrand in the dark out of my way unless he bid them. But for every trifle they set upon me, sometimes like apes that maul and chow at me, and after bite me. They're like hedgehogs, lay toddling in my barefoot way, and monkey pricks at my footfall. Sometimes am I all wounded with adders, who with cloven talons do haste me into madness. No! Here comes the spirit of it, and to torment me for bringing woody slowly. Awful flesh, perchance he will not mind me.
Who's neither bush nor shrub to bear off any weather at all, and another storm brewing. Yon same black cloud, yon huge one. Pitch of thunder again. I know not where to hide my head. What have we here? A man or fish? Dead or alive? A fish. It smells like a fish. A very ancient, fish-like smell. A strange wood but to give a piece of silver. Legged like a man, and fins like arms. Work on my trunk! I shall now let loose my opinion. This is no fish, but an islander that recently suffered by thunderstroke. Alas, the storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine, for there is no other shelter here about. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows.
I shall no more to see, here shall I die ashore.
Master,
Swallow,
boatswain, and I, the garden is made of mouth. Megan married and had a journey, but none of us cared for Kate, for she had a tongue with a tag. Would cry to a sailor, go hand. She loved not the savor of tar nor of pitch, yet the tailor would scratch her where she did itch. Then to see boys, that never go hand.
What's the matter? Have you devils here?
The spirits tormenting him.
This is a monster of the Isle with 4 legs. With blood, as I take it. An ague. Where the devil should he learn our language? If I can recover him and keep him tame and get to Naples with him, he's a present for any emperor that ever trod on neat leather.
You don't torment me, I'm pretty. I remember to faster.
He shall taste of my bottom. If he have never drunk before, it will go near to remove his fit. Open your mouth! Open your mouth! This will shake your shakings, I can tell you.
I should know that voice. Oh, but she is drowned, and these are devils. Oh, defend me.
4 legs and 2 voices. A most delicate monster! His forward voice now is to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is to utter foul speeches and to detract. I will pour some in thy other mouth. Dost thou other mouth call me? Mercy, mercy! This is a devil and no monster. I will leave him.
Stefano, if thou beest Stefano, touch me and speak to me, for it is Trinculo, be not feared, thy good friend Trinculo.
If thou beest Trinculo, come forth. I'll pull thee by the lesser legs. If any be Trinculo's legs, these are they. Thou art very Trinculo indeed. How canst thou be the seat of this mooncap? Can he bend Trinculos?
I took him to be killed by a thunderstroke. I hid myself under the mooncalf's gabardine for fear of the storm. And art thou living, Stefano? Oh, Stefano,
Pretty, do not turn me about. My stomach is not constant. Swear by this brother how thou camest hither. I escaped upon a butt of sack, which the sailors heaved overboard.
I swear I will not follow to be thy chief subject.
Here, swear then how thou escapest.
swim ashore, man, like a duck. I can like a duck.
Here, here's the book. Thou canst swim, duck. Thou art made like a goose.
Oh, Stefano, hast thou any more of this?
The whole book, man. My cellar is in the rock by the seaside, where my wine is hid. How now, Mouser? How did I make you? Hast thou not dropped from heaven? My mistress showed me thee, and I got. Come, swear the neck. Kiss the book. I will furnish it along with new content. Swear.
By this good light, this is a very shallow monster. I fear him. Well drawn, monster! In good sooth.
I'll show thee how to burn out ancient this island, and I'll kiss thy foot. I pray thee, be my God.
When God's asleep, he'll rub his bottle.
I kiss thy foot. I swear myself thy subject. Come on then, down and swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this buffy-headed monster.
Kiss.
Is that the response to this drink?
I'll show thee my fresh skins. I'll plot thee berries. I'll fish for thee and get thee rich. A plain acrobat's heart that I said, I'll beg him no mistakes. I'll follow thee, thou wondrous man. I'll show thee where the cracks were, and I with my long nails will kick thee pigments. Show thee the Jason, and instruct thee how to stand and eat mama said. I'll get thee young scallops from the rock, and sometimes I show thee clumsy filberts. Will thou go with me? I pray thee, lead the way. No more talking. Trinculo, the king, and all our company else being drowned. We will inherit here. Here, bear me. Fellow Trinculo, we'll fill him by and by again. Farewell, master. Farewell, farewell. No more debt I'll make for fish. No more fetch at firing, at requiring. No square treachery, no wash dish. Bang, bang, caravan has a new master, get a new man.
Bam, bam, Caliban. Bam, bam, Caliban. Has a new master, get a new man. Has a new master, get a new man. Freedom, freedom. Hey, 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 hey. Freedom.
Oh, great conquer, lead the way.
Freedom, 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 freedom. Hey, 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 hey. Freedom, freedom.
There be some sport are painful. And their labor delight in them sets off. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This, my mean task, would be as heavy to me as odious. The mistress which I serve quickens what's dead, and makes my labors pleasures, but she is 10 times more gentle than her father's craft, and he is composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs, and pile them up upon a sore injunction. My mistress weeps when she sees me work, and says, such baseness never had like executor. I forget. But these sweet thoughts do refresh my labors most busiest when I do it.
Alas now, pray you,
Hey!
work not so hard. And would the lightning have burnt up those logs that you were enjoined to pile?
noble mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs a while. Pray give me that. I'll carry you to the pile.
No, noble creature. I would rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you. And I should do it with much more ease, for my goodwill is to it and yours it is against.
Poor worm. Thou art infected.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress. 'Tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda.
Admired Miranda! Indeed, the top of admiration, worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady I abide with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women, never any with so full soul. But some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed and put it to the foil. But you. Oh, you. So perfect and so peerless, are made of every creature's best.
I do not belong to my sex. No woman's face remembers save for my glass of my own. Nor have I seen more that I may call men than you, friend, my dear father. How features are abroad, I am skilless of. But by my modesty, the jewel of my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you. Nor can imagination form a shape besides yourself to like of. But I prattle something too wildly.
Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you, did my heart fly to your service. There resides, to make me slave to it, and for your sake, I am this patient logman.
Do you love me?
Oh, heavens! Oh, earth! Bear witness to the sound, and crown what I profess with kind event.
I, beyond all limit else in the world, do love, prize, honor you.
I am a fool to leave it what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections. Heavens rain grace on that which breeds between them.
Wherefore weep you?
But unworthiness that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall never want. But this is trifling. And all the more it seeks to hide itself the bigger bulk it shows, hence rational cunning and prompt to be played in holy innocence. I am your wife if you will marry me.
My mistress, dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband then?
I, with the heart is with me. Here's my hand.
Mine, with my heart in it. Now farewell, till half an hour hence.
1,000,000.
So glad of this day I cannot be, who are surprised with all. But my rejoicing at nothing can be more. Out of my book.
say there's but 5 upon this isle. We're 3. 3. If the other 2 be brave as us, the state totters!
Drink, servant monster, when I bid thee. Thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard.
Your lieutenant, if you wish. He's no standard.
How does thy honor? Let me lick thy shoes. I will not serve him, he's not valiant.
Why, thou debauching fish, thou! Was there ever a coward who had drunk as much sack as I today? Wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, being only half monster, half fish?
No! How he mocks me! Without let him, my lord.
Lord, quoth he.
No, again! Fight him to death, I do.
Trinculo, keep a good tongue in your hat. If you prove a mutineer, the next tree. The poor monster's my subject, and he shall not suffer indignity.
I thank my noble lord. Would thou be pleased to hearken once again to the suit I made to thee?
Mary, will I? Need I repeat it?
As I told thee before, I'm the subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer, who by his cunning has cheated me of this island.
Thou liest!
Thou liest! Thou jesting monkey, thou! I would my valiant master would destroy thee. I do not lie.
Trinculo, if you trouble him any more in his power, by this hand I will supplant from your teeth.
But I said nothing.
No, said, and no more. Proceed.
I saved my sovereign to God's owl. From me, he got it. If thy greatness will revenge on him, for I know thou darest, but this they dare not.
That's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and thou serve thee.
How now shall these be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yea, yea, my lord. I yield to thee asleep, where thou makest not now into his hand.
Thou liest! Thou canst not!
I do beseech thy greatness, give him blows and take his bottle from him. When that's done, he shall drink not but brine, for I will not show him where the quick freshest are.
Trinculo, interrupt the poor monster one word further, and by this hand I'll turn myself towards make a stockfish of thee.
What did I did nothing.
Then thou dost say he lies! Thou liest! Do I so? Take thou that!
I tell you, I cannot give the lie. Out of your wits and hearing too. A pox on your bottle. This can sack and drinking do.
Now, forward with your cow. Prithee, stand further off.
It is enough, and after a little time, I'll beat you too.
Stand further. Proceed.
Why, as I told thee, 'tis a custom of him in the afternoon to sleep. There thou mayst bring him, having first seized his book, or with a log battering his spoon, or punch him with a stake, or cut his weasel with thy knife. Remember, first to possess his book. When that's gone, he's like a salt, like I am, nor have not one spirit to command. But that most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her not well. I have never seen woman but cigarettes my dad and she, but she as far surpassed cigarettes as greatest as least.
Is it so brave, alas?
Aye, my lord, and show thee thy best, I warrant, and bring thee forth brave brood.
Monster, I will kill this man. His daughter and I shall be king and queen, and Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Excellent.
Give me thy hand. shall destroy them.
I, on my honor,
This will I tell my master.
thou makes me merry. Come on, Twinkle, let us sing. Flout them and scout them and scout them and flout them. Thought it's free.
That's not a tune.
What does it say?
Forgive us our sins.
He that I face all doubts, I defy thee. Mercy upon us.
Art thou here?
No, monster, not I.
Be not afraid. This island is full of noises, sounds, and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes a thousand twangling instruments will hum about my ears, and sometimes voices, if I had then waked from low sleep, will make me sleep again. And then in dreaming, the clouds methought would open and show riches ready to drop upon me. That when I waked, I cried to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, where I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed,
That shall be, by and by. I remember the story. Lead, monster, will follow.
Flout 'em and scout 'em and scout 'em and flout 'em and scout 'em is free. Flout 'em and scout 'em and scout 'em and flout 'em and scout 'em is free. Flout 'em and scout 'em and scout 'em and flout 'em and scout 'em is free. Flout 'em and scout 'em and scout 'em and flout 'em and scout 'em is free. Thought is
My lady, I can go no further. My bones ache and years of maze trod deed before way to meanders. By your patience, I need to rest me.
Oh Lord, I cannot blame you. When myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope and will keep it no longer for my suffering. Is drowned who must restrain find and seek mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
the next advantage will we take thoroughly.
Let it be tonight, for now they are pressed to travel, they will not nor cannot use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
I say tonight, no more.
What harmony is this? My good friends, hark!
Marvelous music.
Give us kind keepers! Heavens! What were these?
say. So, good like an observation strange, my meaner ministers their several kinds have done. My high charge of work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They are now in my power.
In the name of something holy, sir, I stand you in this strange sin.
Oh, it's monstrous, monstrous! Methought the billows spoke and told me on it. The winds did sing it to me in thunder. That deep and dreadful organ pipe pronounced the name of Prosper. It debased my trespass, and therefore my son in oozes bedded, and I'll sink him deeper than e'er plummet sounded, and within there lie mudded.
But one fiend at a time, I'll fight our legions o'er.
I'll be thy second.
All three of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like poison, came into work a great time after it begins to bite the spirit. I do beseech you, that our simpler troubles, to follow them and hinder them from what this ecstasy may not provoke them to.
Follow, I pray you.
If I have too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends. For I have given you here a third of mine own life, for that for which I live, who once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations are but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. Here afore heaven, I ratify this my rich gift. Take my daughter. But if thou dost break her virgin knot before all the sanctimonious ceremonies of full and holy rite be ministered, no sweet aspersion shall the heavens let fall to make this contract grow, but barren hate, sour-eyed disdain, and discord shall eschew the union of your beds, with weeds so loathly that you shall hate it both.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue, and long life, with such love as 'tis now, the murkiest den, the most opportune place, shall never melt mine honor into lust, to take away the edge of that day's celebration.
Approach, my Ariel. Appear impertly.
Onward, riches, marriage.
These are most majestic visions, and harmonious charmingly. May I be bold to think these spirits?
Spirits, which by mine art I have in their confines called up to enact my present fancies.
Let me live here ever. So rare a wondered mother and a wise makes this place paradise.
I had forgot the foul conspiracy of the beast, Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minute of their plot is almost come. Well done. The voyage no more.
This is strange. Your mothers take some passion that works so strongly.
Never till this day saw I ever touched with anger so distempered.
Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These are actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and have vanished into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit shall dissolve, and like its insubstantial pageant faded, and leave not a rack behind. We are stuck as dreams are made of, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I'm vexed. Bear with my weakness. My old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire to my cell and there repose.
We wish you peace.
Come with a thought. I think the air will come.
Find thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Spirit, we must prepare to meet with Caliban.
I, my commander.
Say again, where did thou leave these varlets?
I told you, sir. They were red hot with drinking. So full of valor that they smote the air for breathing in their faces, beat the ground for kissing of their feet, yet always bending towards their project. Then I beat my tabor, at which, like unbacked colts, they pricked their ears, advanced their eyelids, lifted up their noses as they smelt music. So I charmed their ears that carefully. They, my lily, followed their toothed briars, sharp verses, pricking gores and thorns, which injured their frail shins. At last, I left them in filthy net to fool me on their cell. There, dancing up to the chins, that the foul lake overstunk their feet.
This is well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible retain thou still. The trumpery in my house. Go bring it hither for still to catch these thieves.
I go.
A devil, a born devil, on whom my pains you mainly taken all lost, quite lost. And as with age his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all even to roaring.
Pretty, stress softly. We're now near his cell.
Monster, I do smell all horse piss, at which my nose is a great illusion.
So is mine.
to that good mischief which made this island thy own forever, and I thy caravan, for I thy footlicker.
Give me thy hand. I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
Oh, worthy Stefano, look at the wardrobe laid out for thee.
Let alone, thou fool! This is but trash.
Put off that gown, Trinculo. By this hand, I'll have that gown.
Thy grace shall have her.
The trusty this fool! Let alone, and do the murder first.
Be you quiet, monster.
We shall lose our time, and all we turn to barnacles or to apes, with our foreheads villainous low.
Monster, lay to your fingers. How to bear this when my heart's full of vinous, or I'll turn you out of my kingdom. Carry this.
And this.
And this. No! No, brother!
Hey! Out! Hey! Silver! There you go! Silver! Fury! Fury! There, tyrant there! Hark! Hark!
No, brother! Let them be hunted soundly. At this hour lies my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall all my labors end, and now shall have the air of freedom. For a little follow and do me service. Now does my project gather to a head. My charm crack not, my spirits obey. In time is up with his carriage. How's the day?
On the 6th hour, at which time, my lord, we said our work should cease.
I did say so. And first I raised the tempest. Say, my spirits, how fares the king and his followers?
Confined together in the same fashion as you gave in charge, just as you left them. All prisoners, sir, in the lion grove which went within your cell. They cannot budge till your release. The king, his brother, and yours abide all three distracted. And the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay. But chiefly him who you term, sir, the good old Lord Gonzalo. His tears run down his beard like winter's drops, that if you now beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Mine would, sir, were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou which art with air, a touch, a feeling of their afflictions, and shall not myself? What of their kind? Be kindlier moved than thou art. The rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. Go release them, Ariel. They being penitent, the sole drift of my purpose doth extend not a crown further. My charms I'll crack, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, sir.
you elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes and groves, and you that on the sands with princeless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune, and you fly when he comes back. You demi-devils that by moonshine do the green sour ringlets make, where the yew not bites, and you whose pastimes to make midnight mushrooms, and to rejoice to hear in the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though you be, I dim the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azure vault set roaring war. But this rough magic I here abjure, and when I have acquired some heavenly music, which even now I do, to work mine end upon their senses that this airy charm is for, I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book. A solemn air, the best comfort to an unself fancy, pure thy praise, now useless, loyal within thy soul. The charm dissolves apace, and as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rival senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle their clearer reason. Their understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shore that now lies foul and muddy. Not one of them began to listen me or would know me. Fetch the robe of office for myself. Quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I, and a cowslip's bell I lie. Where the bee sucks, there suck I, and a cowslip's bell I lie. There I crouch when eyes do cry, on a back's back I do fly, 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 I do fly. On a back's back I do fly, 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 I do fly. After summer, merrily, after summer, merrily, 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 shall I live now under the blossom that hangs on the bough? Merrily, 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 shall I live now under the blossom that hangs on the bough?
My dainty Erin, I shall miss thee so, so, so.
Torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly power guide us out of this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero. For more assurance that a living prince does now speak to me, I embrace thy body, and to thee and thy company I bid a hearty welcome.
Whether thou beest here or no, some enchanted trifle to amuse me, as late I have been, I not know. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood, and since I saw thee, the affliction of my mind and limbs, in which I fear a madness held me. This must crave, and if this be at all a most strange story. Thy dukedom I resign, and do entreat thou pardon me my wrongs, but how should Prospero be living and be here?
First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or
speak, or be not, I'll not swear.
You do yet taste some subtleties of the isle that will not have you believe me certain. Welcome, my friends all.
The devil speaks in him.
No. For you, most wicked sir, whom to call brother would even infect my mouth, I do forgive thy rankest fault. All of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore.
If thou beest, Prospero, give us thy particulars of thy preservation. How thou was last here, when 3 hours since were wrapped upon this shore, where I had lost a sharp appointed remembrances, my dear son Ferdinand.
I am well for it, sir, for I have lost my child.
The child. Oh heavens, that they were both living in Naples. The king and queen there. They were. I wish myself were mudded in that boozy bed where my son lies. When did you lose your child?
In this last tempest. But Sir, you have been jostled from your senses. Know for certain that I am Prospero, and the very duke which was thrust from the line. Whereupon this strange shore, where you were wrapped, was landed to be the lord on it. If no more of this, you are welcome, sir. Pray you look in. My dukedom, since you have given me again, I will requite you with as good a thing, or at least a wonder to content you as much as me, my dukedom.
Sweet lord, you play me false.
So, my dearest love, I would not for the world.
Yes. For a score of kingdoms you should wrangle, and I would call it fair play.
If this prove the vision, the island, one dear son shall I twice lose.
Though the seas threaten, they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now, all the blessings of a glad father compass thee about. Arise, and say how thou camest here. I wonder, how many goodly creatures are there here? How beauteous mankind is. How brave new world that has such people in it.
'Tis new to thee.
What is this maid with whom thou wast at play? Your eldest acquaintance cannot be 3 hours. She the goddess that has severed us and brought us thus together.
Sir, she is mortal, but by immortal providence, she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father for his advice, nor thought I had one. She is the child to this famous Duke of Milan, of whom so often I have heard renowned but never saw before, of whom I have received second life, and second father this lady makes him to me.
I'm hers, but oh, how oddly must it sound that I must ask my child for forgiveness.
And then we wept, or should have spoke ere this. Look down, you gods, and on this couple drop the blessed crown, for it is you who chalked forth the way which brought us hither.
I say amen, Gonzalo.
Was Milan with us from Milan, this issue should make kings of Naples. Oh, rejoice beyond a common joy, and set it down with golden lasting pillars. In one voyage did Clara her husband find in Tunis, and Ferdinand her brother found a spouse, when he himself was lost. Prospero is doomed in this poor isle, and all of us ourselves, where no man was known.
Give me your hands. Like grief and sorrow, still embrace his heart that doth not wish you joy. These are not natural events, and they strengthen from strange to stranger.
Well done. Bravely my diligence. Thou shalt be free.
This is as strange a maid Some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Sir, my liege, do not infest your mind with dealing with the strangers of this business. I'll resolve you of all these happy incidents. Till when, be cheerful and think of each thing well. Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell. How fares my gracious sir? There are yet some missing of your company, some few odd lads you remember not.
Every man shift for all the rest, and let no man take care for himself. For all is God's fortune. Coraggio, William Ulster, coraggio!
Is this not Stefano, my drunken butler?
He is drunk now. Where had he wine?
And Trinculo is really right. Where did they find this grand liquor that hath gilded them? Say, how camest thou in this pickle?
I have been in this pickle since I saw you last, that I had feared me never be out of my bones.
Why? How now, Stefano?
Oh, look me not. I am not Stefano, but a crank.
You'd be king of the isle, sirrah.
I should have been the Sauron then.
This is as strange a thing as I have looked on.
He is as disproportionate in his manners as in his shape. Go, sirrah, to my cell. Take with you your companions. As you look to have my pardon, trim it handsomely.
I that I will, and I will once hereafter and seek for grace. But that thrice thou will ask beside to take his drunk off for a god, and worship this thou fool.
Go to, away.
Hence, you stow your luggage where you found it.
Your Majesty. I invite your highness and your train to my court cell. And there you shall rest for this one night. And in the morn I'll bring you to your ship. And so to Naples, where I hope to see the nuptial of these, our dear beloved Solomons. And then retire me to my Milan, where every third thought shall be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life, which must take to the ear strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you calm seas, auspicious gales, and a sail so expeditious you shall catch your royal fleet far off.
Checkmate.
My errand, chick, that is thy charge. Then to the elements be free, and fare thou well. Now my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I have is mine own, which is most faint. Now 'tis true I must be here confined by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I have my dukedom got, and pardon the deceiver, dwell in this bare island by your spell. Release me from my bands, with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy
faults,